60 Minutes with Angela starts right now.
Well, hello and welcome. This is 60 Minutes with me, Angela Ajitumobi. Thank you for joining me on the program today.
Perhaps the place to start really, and I think the purpose of this discussion is to simplify what appears to have become a very complex issue. The power plants that we have are nothing but very big generators. So just like our generator at home, the small one, the very popular one, I better pass my neighbor, it's just multiples of that. Just like our generator at home uses fuel, whether it's diesel, whether it's petrol, the big power plants use fuel. The fuel sometimes is gas, sometimes is water, though you have a hydro plant, sometimes it's coal. So we just need to understand that we're just dealing with big generators. There's no mystery here. Our energy supply is behind. Today, in March 2016, we have just about 5,000 megawatt of power on the national grid for about 180 million people. Now, we've been producing power since 1960 thereabout. ECN, the predecessor of PHCN and NEPA, was created by a 1950 ordinance. It started operations in 1951, so roughly over 60 years. And in 60 years, the total cumulative power that we have generated is 5,000 megawatts. We reached that 5,000 megawatt just a few weeks ago, this year. So if you do a breakdown of about 66 years of 5,000 megawatts, you look at averagely about 75 megawatt of power every 1 year. And when you look at how our population has exploded, between 1950, I think it was about 37 million. Even then, corporate Nigeria, as is known today, had not evolved. It was Northern, South, and Protectorate and all of that. By 1962, I think we were about 47 million, and now we are 180 something. So part of the problem we have to deal with is how to equitably and sufficiently distribute what is not enough. But again, possibly, and I believe, can increase in geometric proportions if we all do the right things. 1 year ago, the holy grail for power was 4,000. That's what they were chasing. But in less than 1 year, we're at 5,000. And if we now do the right things, we won't have the outages that we have. Instead of fixing and trying to stay at 5,000, then we should be moving on to 6,000, 7,000, and probably be moving in leaps of 2,000 megawatts. And I think that's where to start, really, to just understand that background, that there is nothing esoteric about it. It's more how much we want it and the price that it is going to take from us in terms of our behavior, in terms of our restraints, in terms of our sacrifice. That determines how much more of it we can get. Until about 2013, which is over 60 years ago, government was the provider of electricity. Nobody else. Except for a few gas-to-power initiatives by our joint venture partners like ExxonMobil, Chevron, some IPPs, in order to convert the gas that they were producing. Government was the operator in generation, in transmission, and in distribution. And then the people of Nigeria said, government is not efficient. Government must change it. In fact, government should hand it over to private sector. And in 2005, our elected representatives, speaking on behalf of the people of Nigeria, they sat down in our National Assembly, representing one constituency or the other, and passed one law, the Electricity Sector Reform Act of 2005. And that was the beginning of reform. And they were listening to the people of Nigeria who said, change it. That reform was concluded in 2013 November. That was the privatization that the last administration did. And it ended in the sale of 17 companies, I think, broken up. 6 generation companies called the Gencos and 11 distribution companies called the Discos, sold to private organizations with government retaining certain levels of equity and ownership. But majority interest had been sold to private owners. The only one that government kept was the transmission line. That transmission system is the one we colloquially call the high tension. That's the transporter in the whole value chain. Again, it's important to talk about the fuel source because it defines the price of electricity. Today, we have power produced from 2 principal sources, gas and water, which is hydro. Before you get gas, you either have to take gas from oil production, which is called associated gas because it's associated with oil production, or you take it from natural gas fields that have little or no oil. And so you need to set up a gas processing and production facility. That's a very big machine that you must raise money in order to construct. So people must understand this. After you have produced the gas, you now have to pipe out and pump the gas into the generator. So it's like building your fuel tank at home, and then you put that pipe that goes into the generator. Now, from the time when the gas is going out, there is a meter saying how much gas I am sending to you, the generator owner. At the point of intake, when you are receiving the fuel, which is the gas, you also have a meter that is measuring how much. So just like your generator at home has how many liters of fuel it can take, it's measured because you have to pay for that fuel. And then when you use it and turn the machine on to produce energy, when you are sending it to transmission company, the transporter, there's also a meter at the generation end saying, I am sending you so much power. So he too knows what he's carrying. And when the transmission system is receiving it, he's measuring also and say, oh, I got 10 units of power. And then he's delivering it to the disco. At the point when the disco takes the power in, it too has a meter saying, oh, you say you sent me 10 megawatts of power. I received 9.8. That's what I'm going to pay for. It is now the disco at the last end that does the dirty and hard business of getting it to hundreds of thousands and millions of homes. At the point when the disco is pushing out too from its substations, if you go to those substations, you will see meters of what is going to each substation out as bulk power. And then it is metered from the transformer end into our individual homes so that it can be measured, the money collected and paid back to everybody. Now, the impression perhaps has been created that the disco collects all the money. That is wrong, it is false, it is without basis. The maximum the discos collect is about 25, maximum 30% of what they collect from consumers. Because they must now pay the transmission company, they must pay the generation company, and they must pay the gas company. Once there's a default on that value chain, the power system is in trouble. Because you need continuous supply of gas, continuous supply of energy, continuous wheeling of energy. So if you are an operator or a transporter in that system and you don't get paid, will you continue to render service? Now, this is the reforms that have taken place. Will it work? I believe it will work. Does it have challenges? It does have challenges. Is this the best that could have been done? Certainly not. It could have been better. But we can bemoan yesterday. I don't want to bemoan yesterday. I want to deal with today. I want to plan tomorrow from today. And that's why I'm going around from one power plant. And I've been to Kainji, Jebab Hydro Station. I've been to Egmi Gas Station. I've been to the old Oji River Power Station, which used to run on coal. It's been dismantled. There's still many more to see. I've been to several transmission stations across all the 6 states in the north-central area of Nigeria. I have been to them, and my learning still continues because I need to see what I am employed to manage. Government is no longer distributing power. Government has handed over distribution to those 11 distribution companies. So all the things that NEPA used to do, come and fix your transformer, come and fix your broken wire, come and do your 33 kV cable, all of those things is now the work of the discos. All of the transformers in your area, those 3 lines you see on your street, are now assets of the distribution company. They don't belong to government anymore. Let us understand that. So if your transformer is broken now, it's not government that should repair it. It's the private disco. So they are supposed to do that from the 25% they get from the tariff price. Government has also restructured itself to now play a regulatory role, like a referee, ensuring that those operators do their work, put money into the business, recover their money, because if they don't recover the business, the system can collapse. Make some profit, but they must not profiteer. Again, then government stands between them and consumers to ensure that consumers are not extorted. There's no profiteering. Now, there are active agencies that have come with the reform. One of them is the Electricity Regulation Commission, NEC. NEC is actually the official that sanctions, that regulates price, that determines so many things. There's also NEMSA, a safety agency, that fixes the quality and codes and all of that relating to meters, installation of poles, stringing of lines, that just regulates how things are done safely. Then there is MBET, Bulk Electricity Trading Company, Incorporated, to stand as the stabilizer of the financial issues between gas, GENCO, transmission, and DISCO. Currently, all of them have contracts with one another, but not all of them are able to fully discharge their obligations. If you leave them now as they are, it seems like the best way to say is they will tear each other apart. So that's like the financial balancer, like the wheel balancer, that don't worry, I will collect your money for you, keep producing. Don't worry, we'll guarantee that you will get your money, keep producing, and we'll sort out all the liabilities. But that is happening because the system is still very fragile. The privatization is just 2 years old, November 2013 to now. As we go on, MBET will eventually get out so that GENCOs can deal directly with DISCOs. Contracts can be facilitated, guarantees can be enforced at the time when there is enough power and the system is robust.